Hi guys. Happy amazing Sunday, and it's almost, right? I'm losing track of the days. Yeah, it's almost New Year's. That's so creaky, really crazy. So, welcome on. This is this isn't exactly the readings, but it is going to be the readings in a little bit. I just wanted to make this video first because I want to talk about a little bit of the planetary movements, because that's going to give a really good precursor before I do the readings. Okay, so just kind of jump on. I'll wait just a little bit. Hi Canada. Hi everyone, comment where you're tuning in from. I'm from Mexico, and if you guys saw, so here's my little place that I have temporarily. I don't know how long I'll stay because I'm still being a bit wanderlust. I don't know. It's like I want to settle down, but at the same time it makes me antsy to settle down. I don't know what it is. It's very frustrating as a Pisces. So hi Maryland, hi from Brooklyn, hi Missouri, the UK. I love it. So yes, like I was saying, this is going to be like an update on the planetary movements, because this is going to help you. I've been doing this thing lately where I like to incorporate like the entanglement of the planets along with the readings, because I've been finding that there's a lot of huge connections to like what is influencing your relationships, your growth, like all that good stuff, right? So what's happening right now, we're in the time of Capricorn, right? And Capricorn is that earth slow moving process. And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to link this video down below. If you guys have seen, I've been talking a lot about Astrolada, or I think her name is Lada Duncheva is her channel name. Dude, she's amazing. So it's based off of some of the information that she put out, and I'm going to be touching on some key points along with the readings and all that good stuff, okay? So 4 planets are in Capricorn right now, which is like, holy freaking crap. There's a lot of energy to deal with right now, a lot of purging with emotions. So I think I just saw someone in here say they've been crying a lot. Sorry, the messages. Yeah, I'm having issues eating. Oh my God, terrible, crying, the whole works, totally. Because there's going to be a lot of purging that happens right now, okay? A lot. And it's going to be in correlation to like a lot of your own psychological development and all those good things, okay? Now, I do consider Pluto a planet, just FYI, because you're still entangling with the energy of it, so I don't really care if people think that it's a planet or not, okay? So Pluto is all about transformations, and this is going to be a very significant time because Capricorn is that slow moving. And what Astrolada kind of touched on in her video, which I thought was so profound, she talked about the energy of Capricorn. And the energy of Capricorn is that it's the goat. It's who can scale the mountains. And so this is going to affect all of us. No matter what your sign is, it's going to affect all of us in the same exact way. There's things, I'll get to that in a second. There's things that you are all working towards in your life, right? Slow moving, steadfast, lessons that you're learning with relationships, work, like all these different areas of our lives, right? And this is going to be a very pivotal time because, okay, I love what she talked about. The goat can scale any terrain. Like, it's unbelievably what they can do. They can go through times like where there's little to no vegetation or abundance, right? And those are times that we have to go through as humans, times where things and resources are very scarce. There's not a lot to live off of, and you don't know if you're going to survive, right? And so, but Capricorn is that like push forward warrior, like I'm going to get through this no matter what, which obviously if you follow my content, you probably have some part of that in you, okay? But the thing that she talked about, she said that she researched on people who climb Mount Everest. And I was like, this was the most perfect, like, kind of symbolic lesson that she could have given. I was mind blown. So she was talking about how when hikers are preparing to climb Mount Everest, they have to adjust. You know, they have to acclimate to the different levels of oxygen that they're, you know, as the elevation gets higher, which is like how we are as humans. When we're up leveling, when we're evolving, we're moving into a higher consciousness and like more light, you know, photons of light. That's what I think of. So as you're elevating and you're getting to better phases of your life, you have to adjust to it, because sometimes the thing that can pull you back is your own shadow, your self-worth, the thing that makes you think like, I don't deserve this, or I'm not a match, or you have just all these other fears and programming that's going to influence you. Okay, so what the climbers have to do is they have to get to a certain point on the mountain and then go back down to base camp. And then they go back there, and then they go up and they get a little bit higher, and then they go back to base camp, and they get a little bit higher and they go back to base camp. So this continues on until finally one day they just reach the peak. So that's what I thought was really fascinating, especially because you guys know how I touch a lot on empath and narcissistic relationships. And I talk a lot about Stockholm Syndrome, because Stockholm Syndrome, it's that kind of condition, it's a self-sabotaging condition where, and you can do this in different areas. You can go back to a person who abuses you, or you can go back to a habit that is not good for you. That's Stockholm Syndrome. Like, you can continue to go back to certain foods that you know are really bad for you or cause a certain reaction. To me, I was like, yeah, that's totally Stockholm Syndrome too. It doesn't just apply to humans and our relationships. It also applies to our addictions, our behaviors, food, drink, smoking, like things that pull, especially that oral addiction, because as you're soothing yourself, when you're evolving, you're gonna go back to those initial things from your childhood, your infancy, that help you to feel secure again. But sometimes it can pull you out of consciousness, okay? Because you lose consciousness when you go back to things and you don't just push through the pain, the lesson. And so that's sometimes where it can be going back to base camp. You go back to, so you think you're going backwards, but it's really because you're acclimating, you know? So for some of you, like, that's why I gave a very different perspective on maybe having someone return back into your life, maybe a narcissist, maybe who's someone who's, you know, that it's very toxic between the two of you, but you have to look at what led up to the point of this person reaching out to you, because it's always going to be vibrational. If you're up leveling and you feel really nervous or scared, or you're like, you know, you can feel your body trying to adjust, right? As you're increasing. And so sometimes what can happen is you almost need to go back in a way to just adjust, and then you'll get higher each time. And every time you get higher, you're going to see that you become more powerful. You have all the resources that back you up to reach that next level. You know, everything starts kind of coming in and piecing this, but you've got to stay very vigilant about your connection with your intuition. You know, your intuition is huge. So for example, you want to right now look at your placement. If you guys know your birth chart, look at the planets that are in Capricorn. Some of you might not have any planets in Capricorn in your chart, and that's okay too. Capricorn is still going to influence you. But if you have a planet in there, it's specifically going to influence those areas of your life. So me, for example, just for example, I have, Venus and Neptune in Capricorn, okay? In that placement. So right now, with all this Capricorn energy, where the areas of my life are really going to be magnified, Venus, it's going to be romantic relationships and romance, you know, things like that, but also Neptune, because Neptune is all about like psychic abilities, it's intuition. And so when you ignore, there's going to be that push-pull. Specifically for me, that's why, like, this is why I put my content out, because that's like my life journey. All the realizations that I come to about this is the information that I put out there. So look at that in your guys' chart. That's really going to shine a light. I never really took birth charts that serious, I'm not going to lie, and now I'm like a believer. I was like, oh man, this is totally legit. And it's that entanglement with the planets. And in fact, someone asked a question that I want to talk about with the entanglement. Yeah, so let's make beats, but what is entangling with energy? Okay, let me explain this very quickly, because you guys know I talk about like quantum physics on a basic level, okay? I'm not claiming to be a physicist or anything, but entanglement is where when two electrons come into contact with one another, they will affect each other's behavior. And then once they come into relationship with one another, they will always affect each other's behavior no matter the distance between them. And Einstein called this spooky action at a distance, because what they did was they put two electrons in each other's like environment, you know, they hung out, they held hands, you know, all that good stuff. They watched Netflix together, and then they took one of the electrons and they shot it out at the moon, okay? And what they found was if they would spin the electron here on Earth in a clockwise direction, it would automatically affect the one on the moon to spin in a counterclockwise direction. So Einstein was really boggled by this, because he thought that maybe there was some type of thing already programmed in them to behave that way, for them to come together and affect each other's behavior in that way. And so there's all this talk about why this happens. So that's why I relate it on a human level, because we as humans, you know, we're made up of about 7 times 10 to the 27th atoms. That's a lot of electrons that are, you know, revolving around those atoms. So when you're entangling with a human, specifically someone who you feel like you have some type of soul contract with or a karmic contract with, if we're going to bring in the spirituality aspect, it's someone that you know is pushing you in your growth, okay? That's why it really doesn't do any good to perceive yourself to be a victim, you know, when it comes to narcissistic abuse and stuff, because I think it was Your Angelic Karma, she said one time, like, the shadow supports the light. That's how it goes. Like, we wouldn't know light without the shadow. And so you have to find a way to perceive these relationships in a different light, that they're beneficial and pushing you in the direction of your evolution. You know, it doesn't mean you have to stay with them. I'm not encouraging that at all. But I'm saying, like, that is the benefit of the shadow, the pain, the abuse, like whatever happens. Because the planets are coming in to help evolve all of us, right? So the entanglement with another human, aka like a narcissist, and those are just labels, okay? I know people get upset when I use the labels, but they're an explanation, okay? We use words as humans to communicate, yeah? That's how I let you know who's an energy giver and who's an energy taker. And so that's why I go back to psychological development. During the narcissistic phase of development, every single human goes through this phase, and it's where you either learned, you know, you were programmed to either give your energy away, be a people pleaser, you become very generous and you just give your power away, aka you have an allergy to power and you look up to other people to provide your stability, things like that for you. Or it can create an actual narcissist, someone with an addiction to power. So it'll either be an allergy or an addiction to power, straight up. So that's why if you have an imbalance there, from your own like programming and psychological development, that will be your life lesson. It will be that codependency pattern where you're attracting someone on the opposite end. They're coming in to kind of compensate for your lack in certain areas, okay? So, this is why, like, some of you guys might actually have specific narcissists that you have, you know what I mean? Like, someone that you had children with, someone that constantly pushes you to that place of detachment from your emotions. Because if you have an emotional response or you can be triggered, you will be kind of people's doormats, like straight up. So you have to just like not care, you know, pretty much. You know, approach your emotions as much as you need to, but I'm getting way off track. So this is kind of, okay, I don't really know what happened, but you guys might have jumped off. I'm gonna wrap this up anyway. Like I said, this is like just the beginning part to all the readings. Okay, this is like the basic energy that everyone's going to be feeling over like probably the next little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up this video. Oh, what was I wanting? The last thing I wanted to say before I jump into everyone's readings, and I'm gonna do an individual video for everyone's sign. Okay, since I can't do my normal stuff, so I'm gonna be doing an individual video for each person's sign. Okay, but the last thing I wanted to say before I jump on and start doing that is, what was I gonna say? Yes. During next like 17, 18, 19, 20 days, right now is the potential to reach the peak of whatever you are wanting to accomplish financially, entrepreneur-wise, traveling the world, relocating, romantic relationships, addictions, whatever individual thing that you guys are working on right now, you have the potential to reach the peak, and it's all going to be depending on the lessons you've learned, how much you've incorporated, and how dedicated you've been to sticking to the things you know you need to do for your happiness. You know, how much are you pushing through your fears and, you know, continuing to push forward. That Capricorn energy, the goat that can, you know, traverse through any type of terrain. All right, so like I said, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna jump onto all the readings, and I'm feeling it today. I'm gonna start with Pisces and do what I do. So whenever I hit on your sign, like sun, moon, or rising, just go ahead and jump into the reading, and I will see you guys there. Love you so much, and I'll see you in just a touch.